Hello and welcome to PowerDrift. I just wanted to remind you to subscribe to PowerDrift. India's best automotive content is right here, and what's also right here today is the Triumph Rishul. Okay, jokes aside, that's the new Trident 660. This is very important for Triumph because for the foreseeable future, this will be the most affordable motorcycle you can buy at a Triumph dealership. The next motorcycle you can buy will be either a Street Triple R or the Street Twin, both of which are at least 2 lakh rupees more. So, lots of stuff going on here. Let's quickly break it down and let's start with the styling. It's got all LED lighting, so indicators, headlamps, everything is LED. You've also got a styling package that is sort of retro and modern. And if you think of the Street Triple to this motorcycle, the shrouds around the radiator, which are quite a big feature of the Street Triple, have been pared back to a very basic, and it does actually look quite nice because of it. I think Triumph have nailed the balance between the retro cues they're using in the motorcycle in terms of how the tank is rounded, and the modern cues in terms of how the lines are very sporty, and the tail end is a really small, sharp little unit. Now, let's talk about what's going on underneath. So that engine, as you know, is a 660cc 3-cylinder engine. It derives its origins from the 660cc engine that goes in the Street Triple S, a motorcycle that India does not get. Now, if you remember back in time, one generation ago, the Street Triple used to have a base model which was 85 bhp, didn't have its own name really. It went to markets like Brazil and Japan, where taxation laws required those motorcycles to be there for massive savings for customers. Now, this generation has only the Street Triple S, which is a 660cc engine, just like this one, but not exactly like this one. So what they've done is that they've kept the engine over square, which means the bore is larger than the stroke. But compared to the Street Triple S, this has a longer stroke, which means core components on this engine, stuff like pistons and crankshafts, were updated to a new format. A slip assist clutch was added. It still has a 6-speed gearbox, but power was tuned for a different purpose entirely. Because remember, the Street Triple's job is to be as sporty as possible while being a street naked, whereas this thing's job is to bring as many people into big motorcycling as possible by being as easy to ride as possible. So the tuning is for torque. So what Triumph says is more than 90% of the torque is available from 3600 RPM onwards, and it peaks at 64 Newton meters at about 6250 RPM. Peak power is 81 bhp, and that's where you can see how the corners have been cut, because this is a calmer, gentler motorcycle with a little bit less technology going on. But they haven't cut any serious corners, so you do have a slip assist clutch, which means that the clutch effort will be super light. You also have a 6-speed gearbox. You can add a quick shifter later if you want to. There's no Bluetooth unit, but you can add one if you want to. So Triumph has left the door open for you to be able to do a little bit more to this motorcycle if you want to. That engine goes into a very simple steel frame also, which is again a brand new steel frame. It is not a derivative of any frame that Triumph currently makes, and if you look at the spec, it's a really basic motorcycle. So these are Showa separate function forks. That's a big step up, but they are not adjustable in any way. So this setup is what you get. Is it a good setup? We'll find out when we start riding it, but the international test ride reports suggest that they've got basically the package in the right place. At the back is the only adjustable unit. You've got preload adjustment on a direct mount Showa shock at the back. And that's the story of the suspension. Similarly, Triumph is not given this 320 mm rotors. These are 310 mm rotors in the front. Obviously, there's a disc at the back. And again, look, they're Nissan calipers, but they're sliding calipers, old school mounting. Triumph chose not to radially mount them, which is a little strange given the fact that a motorcycle like the 390 Duke already has radial mount calipers. So I don't fully understand that decision, but that does not necessarily mean that the brakes will be poor. It's something that we'll keep an eye out when we test ride it. Now let's talk about features and electronics, and it doesn't have much. So it does have traction control, and yes, you can switch it off. It has ABS at both ends, and you can't turn that off, and that's really something to do with the European law as it stands today more than anything that Triumph has decided on. And it's even got riding modes. Road mode and rain mode are the only 2 modes you get, and you can't really adjust them, and that's fine, because think about it. This motorcycle is supposed to be the first big bike somebody purchases, and honestly, the amount of adjustability this motorcycle needs is far less crucial than your ability to get on the motorcycle, ride it, and have a really good time. A motorcycle that gives you confidence rather than a lot of features, and that's exactly what Triumph is going for here. Have they done it? We'll find out when we ride it. But the big surprise for me was that when I got on the motorcycle, I realized It's a really small, compact motorcycle, and I like that, although in India I know that that can be a disadvantage as well. I like it because small and compact means your sense of control over the motorcycle will be superior to having to handle a much larger machine. On the other side, we buy motorcycles like this in India with a sense of aspiration, and a small motorcycle doesn't always connect to that aspiration very, very directly. And while I'm sitting here, I'm looking at the meters, and you've got two digital displays stacked one above the other. The top one shows you the basics of motorcycle information. The bottom one functions more like a multi-information display screen in a car. And if you add the Bluetooth unit, you should be able to use the switch cube here to control GoPros and your phone, etc. In that sense, Triumph have got the basics nailed. They've got a really nice, compact, easy to ride motorcycle in promise, and they've given you the ability to add more features and customization to make it your own. That's the story of this motorcycle, and as you can see, between 8.49 and 8.64 lakh rupees on road in Pune, the next motorcycle, the Street Triple R or the Street Twin, is 2 lakh rupees more, and for that kind of a saving, I think you get a pretty reasonable motorcycle. So what remains to be seen is, this is the spec of the motorcycle. What does it translate to out on the street? That's what we are waiting to see when we get to ride this, but I can tell you this, I'm really excited to ride this. Because these kind of motorcycles unlock passion in people, and then they grow up to become serious motorcyclists. This is the kind of motorcycle where it begins. Now, this motorcycle globally competes with motorcycles like the Yamaha MT-07. I rode one many years ago and it was super impressive, such a great motorcycle to ride. The Z650 from Kawasaki, which of course you get here, and of course Triumph would like to remind you that's the only 3-cylinder engine you can get. Now what I want you guys to do is tell me if the 3-cylinder engine is such a massive advantage. Leave us a comment. It is a good looking motorcycle at a great price. How do you think this motorcycle will do, and what do you think the riding impression will be like? Let us know in the comments. Thank you so much for watching. This is PowerDrift. If you haven't subscribed, this would be a good time to do it. Do hit the bell notification icon. India's best automotive content is right here on PowerDrift, and when we ride the motorcycle, that notification will come to you automatically. My name is Shumi. That is the Triumph Trident 660. Thank you so much for watching.